Hello friends, in this video I would like to share with you 7 books that can assist you in reading Dante's Divine Comedy. Of course, you don't need any of these books because Dante's work is so beautiful, so wonderfully written that one can just sit down and read it and get transformed by his wisdom, by his beauty. But I do think that Dante's masterpiece is like an alchemical text that was interpreted by great minds such as Michelangelo, who wrote commentaries on Dante, or Botticelli, or Francesco Petrarca, or even British Prime Minister William Gladstone, who was an incredible admirer of Dante's masterpiece. The reason why so many amazing minds, geniuses of history studied Dante, because they knew that studying Dante makes you incredibly resilient. Whatever challenge life throws at you, you can overcome it and become stronger. And if you are curious about why you should read Dante in the first place, I would really advise you to read my piece that I wrote on my Substack, and I'll link that piece down below. The first book that I would like to share with you is written by Joseph Luzzi, and it's called Dante's Divine Comedy, a Biography. Each great book, each great piece of art has its own biography, has its own life. How was it created? Why was it created? What kind of impact it had? What kind of fires and turbulences and historical events it survived? This is a book about Dante's Divine Comedy. It's not about Dante per se, but it's about Dante's masterpiece. How was it written? Why was it written? What sort of things it survived? Who it influenced? And this is very readable and quite short biography of the Divine Comedy. If you are curious about Dante's life and historical context, I would really recommend you to read Alessandro Barbero's Biography of Dante. This is the biography of the great poet himself. It's not so much about Divine Comedy, but more about telling you why and in what context Dante grew up and became who he was, about his personality. The next book is kind of a mixture of between being your guide through the Divine Comedy and also telling you about Dante and his life. This book is written by Barbero Reynolds and it's called Dante. It is a lovely book, quite long, I have to say. It's 400 and so pages. And what it does is that Barbero Reynolds, she tells you about Dante, who he was, why he wrote, where did he come from, what influenced him, all the basic information written in a wonderful prose. And then she takes your hand and guides you through the masterpiece, through Dante's Divine Comedy. She tells you about the story. And this book is kind of ideal for someone who wants to know a little bit about Dante, a little bit about the themes that Dante explored, to learn a little bit about Dante's Divine Comedy. So if you want to dip your toes before reading Dante's Divine Comedy itself, I would really recommend this book. It's wonderfully written. She was unfortunately an incredible scholar. She passed away several years ago. The next book that I would like to recommend to you is by Prue Shaw, and it's called Reading Dante, From Here to Eternity. This book touches upon the themes that Dante focused on. Themes such as friendship, love, time, numbers, many things. It's a lovely book that explores the themes that Dante was obsessed with. It is kind of a philosophical exploration of Dante's masterpiece. I have to say, perhaps it would be better for you to read Dante's Divine Comedy and then read Prue Shaw's book, although I might be wrong. Maybe you'll find it still entertaining and interesting without reading the actual book itself. But she's an incredible writer. The next book is like a detective story, and it's not about Dante per se, but it is about Botticelli, Sandro Botticelli, the wonderful, incredible genius of Renaissance who illustrated Dante's Divine Comedy. For a very long time, Botticelli's illustrations were not known. They disappeared. They got lost in a private collection of one incredibly aristocratic and wealthy man. And this book is an investigation of how they were rediscovered. And of course, we journey through the world of Sandro Botticelli himself. We explore art markets and the people who search for missing works of art, experts on it. So it's like incredible book to read, and it's by Joseph Luzzi, who wrote the first book that we explored. The next book is called Dante in Love, written by A.N. Wilson. He is just an incredible writer, and this book focuses more on Dante's passions, on what he meant by love. It's not just merely a romantic love. For Dante, as a medieval Christian, love encompassed much more. Love is everything that we are. It's our essence. Love is what your energy, your life force is directed towards. And love can be misplaced. You can, essentially, in Dante's view, to simplify, sin, vice, is a misplaced love. If you love a lot of eating a lot of food, if you're gluttonous, for example, or if you love money, it is a vice. But it's because you misplace love. You misplace your life's energy on something that will bring little return. And the final book is for the people who really love to dive deep. It's a book called Dante, Poet of Secular World by Erich Auerbach. Erich Auerbach was an incredible writer, and this book is quite dense. But what Auerbach explores is that Dante reinvented poetry and literature to a degree, because essentially before, the ancient writers in the Western world were focusing on things such as fate, meaning that your life is preordained, that the forces that lie beyond you govern you, including things such as character, because for ancients, character defined what sort of life you would live, you are going to live. It is kind of a mechanism, an algorithm, for lack of better word, that will determine your actions. What Auerbach says, and this is a very big simplification of his very deep analysis, is that Dante shows us that character can be altered. Therefore, your fate can be altered. I have to say, this is a book definitely that should be read after finishing at least the Inferno, which is 1 out of 3 parts of Divine Comedy, but it is really worth your time. It's really worth for you to dive deep if you're curious. So these were 7 books, and I am hoping that they will help you in your journey through this incredible alchemical text. And of course, when I say alchemical, I don't mean turning lead into gold or summoning some magic creatures, whatever, however it can be misinterpreted. By alchemical, I mean that sometimes certain things require our attention so we could interpret it, that things that go beyond first impression. I'm hoping you enjoyed this video. Apologies for going through these books this fast. I have to say, each of these books deserves a series of videos, let alone a single video or 10-second exploration. In any case, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.